Okay.
There we go.
Um,
Hi, Kay.
Hello.
okay. I'm recording. Don't worry. I got it. It's already recording. We're good. Okay. A few minutes. I'm gonna start in a couple minutes. All right. Okay. All right. I am going to get started. Um, because I know a lot of you are probably as into This Is Us as I am. So that starts at 9 o'clock. So my goal is to get everyone out here by 9 o'clock. And I want to take any questions you guys have at the end. I'm going to unmute you all and I will I want to hear any questions you have. First, I am going to start. I'm going to try to make this about 20 minutes long, my talk. I'm going to talk about my background, how I got into Steep Tea. My background was Steep Tea. You don't want to hear my whole background or I'd be on the phone with you for 4 hours. I'm going to talk about how the business got started with Steep Tea and what it's going to be for U.S. people in come next year when we launch in July, and just what happens if you sign on as a consultant, how we will help you. So my name's Laura. As I said, I am a mom of three. I have a 5.5-year-old and a 4.5-year-old, almost 4-year-old daughters. And I am a trust and estates attorney, and I love my job. Unlike a lot of people who I went to Rome with for Steep Tea, I don't plan to leave my job anytime soon. I really like it. I got into tea because I decided to do a hardcore diet. I don't know what I was thinking, but I went all in for 30 days and decided not to even have wine, which whoever knows me knows that's crazy. And I needed to figure out how to not eat all the chocolate that I like to eat. I have a horrible sweet tooth. So I hate tea bags. If you would have told me a year ago that I would be selling tea, I probably would laugh at your face. But I tried loose leaf tea in the mall, not our tea, and I couldn't believe how amazing it tasted. And I couldn't believe it was sugar-free and calorie-free. I think I asked the guy at the store like 1,800 times if it was actually sugar-free and calorie-free. And then I just kept drinking it, kept going back and forth to the mall, and I realized that that wasn't the most efficient use of my time. So I looked online to see where I could buy tea. My background before law school was I was in a business. I was a business major in college, and I was a finance major and I double majored in another major called operation management. And what we did with operation management was we learned how to look at companies, see why they're successful, see why they're unsuccessful, figure out what they could tweak in order to make them successful. And I loved my business. I loved this business major. I was obsessed with it. I thought about going into it. I come from a family of lawyers. I went into law instead. But I've always been so intrigued by why companies are successful and why companies are unsuccessful and what they are doing and what they could be doing differently. So I've always been researching companies. And in the last couple of years, I've been researching direct sales companies because I'm sure everyone's knows someone in direct sales. And if you don't, then good for you. But I feel like a lot of our news feeds are direct sales and a lot of people are selling direct sales. And it's just intriguing to me because people are making 7 figures with direct sales. And some people aren't, and some companies are doing really well and some companies aren't. So I've just been researching it to see. And I came across Steep Tea when I was looking for how to get tea delivered to my house. And I saw that they won Dragon's Den. Dragon's Den is the equivalent to Shark Tank. And as much as I love This Is Us, I think Shark Tank might even hold a bigger place in my heart. And so they were on Dragon's Den. 4 of the dragons wanted to be a part of Steep Tea. They made a deal with 2 dragons, the same as what happened in Shark Tank. So we're backed by 2 dragons. I saw that it was one of the fastest growing companies in Canada for the last 5 years. And I just figured I'd try the tea. I realized it didn't have a big US presence because I typed in my zip code, and I do live in the middle of nowhere, New Jersey, but New Jersey is one of the most populated states. And one person came up for being local to me, and I was like, that's ridiculous. So then I did the same thing for my New York City. I moved from the city prior to moving to New Jersey, and I think 0 people came up in New York City. So I realized that it's clearly not that populated in the US, and I learned after why. It's because they only soft launched in the US. They haven't hard launched in the US, which we're doing next year. But anyway, I decided to try the tea, bought the kit. I wasn't even sure if I was going to work the business. I was in another direct sales at the time, which I wasn't being that successful in. But threw my launch party for me, like we would do for you. And after the launch party happened, in 8 months, I have a team of over 135 people. I earned a trip to Rome with airfare. I earned a cruise for 2. I'm about to earn a trip to Nashville for a conference. And it's just been such a satisfying thing to help so many people lose weight with matcha, help people get off their meds with stress, hold dear to my heart. And now seeing people on my downline earn an income, and when they call me crying because of what they spent their money on, it is one of the most rewarding things I think I've ever experienced in my life. So I'm very grateful for Steep Tea. That's my backstory. The story of Steep Tea is that our founder, Tanya, who I saw right before I came on here, she was up for an award for Entrepreneur of the Year for Ernst & Young. I don't think the award's happened if she won or not yet, but she's up for the award. And she's just one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. She is so down to earth. She is my biggest cheerleader. I talk to her a few times a week. She is always the one cheering me on. She's amazing. Her husband is equally as amazing. He used to own Subway franchises, and then when this business started taking off, he has more of the business sense, so he decided to become in as the CEO, and he's the sweetest guy. And then, they're doing pretty well. They have already been written up in Dragon's Den as one of the biggest success stories, and how the Dragons keep talking about how happy they are that they actually invested in Steep Tea. It's one of the best investments they made. But it's about a $20 million company, and I think Tanya realizes that it could be a $1 billion company, right? Like a lot of these direct sales that are selling less popular products than tea are making $1 billion. So there's no reason why Steep Tea can't be $1 billion. So she just started to look for someone to come in and help the company to make it from 20 million to whatever. And we totally lucked out. She got this. Our president was retired, and she was bored being retired. She's an amazing woman. She's only in her 50s. It's not like she's old to be retired. She's not an old person coming in, but she tried to retire, and then she just really wanted to help another company, and she fell in love with Steep Tea. And she's brought 5 other companies from $20 million to $800 million within 5 years. And she said there's no way that she can't do that with tea. She believes, and I believe, tea is an amazing product to sell for various reasons. If you are in direct sales, you want to sell something that's consumable, because people will drink the tea and then they'll reorder it. There's also a huge diversity in our catalog. So people see our catalog, and once you try one tea, if anyone's been a customer, then you know this, but you try one tea and then all of a sudden you want to try 100 more teas, which is the current situation in my house right now. I have like 300 teas floating around. It's also cheap. The last direct sales I was at was kind of expensive, and I felt like it was hard to get the original customer in, but here you could buy a bag of tea for $10, and people buy one bag for $10, and then a lot of times they'll spend, they'll buy 5 bags the next time. It's also, the biggest thing is it's not a fad. So I think a lot of the direct sales are jewelry, clothes, things like that, and they go in and out. I researched like Origami Owl, and Origami Owl, I loved it. I thought the necklaces were great. I own it. I think everyone stopped wearing it at the same time. I don't know what happened. I don't know if there came a memo out in the US not to wear your Origami Owl anymore, but so many people just stopped the trend and stopped wearing it. And I feel like that happens frequently with a lot of companies that are fads. Tea is not a fad. 80% of Americans drink tea. It's not going anywhere. It's been this way for, I don't know how many years, but since a long time, a lot of people have been drinking tea, and it is it's the second most consumed beverage. I assume water is number 1, if not wine. I don't really know, but I'm assuming it's water. And so that is why Melanie believes that there's no way that she brought 4 other companies from $20 million to $800 million in 4 years or 5 years, that she could definitely do that with Steep Tea. And her biggest concern, and what she realized, is that if you look at the research, Canada's direct sales is way below United States direct sales. I don't know if it's because we all know social media better, or because people buy more in US, or people are just more go-getters. Nobody really knows why. Melanie doesn't even know why. But the US, if you look at any companies that are in both Canada and US, the US will blow them out of the water. So her biggest thing to get Steep Tea from $20 million to $800 million in 4 or 5 years is she believes she has to focus on the US the most. So her biggest focus right now is the US. She told me a couple of times she might move to the US because she wants to make sure that it really explodes here. They're working very hard on it, and they're making a huge launch in July. And I know a lot of people are going to ask me next what is happening with the launch. Some things I know confidential, some things, basically what they're going to do that I could tell is that they are going to make Steep Tea a home-based name. If you heard of Steep Tea prior to the person who invited you to this call telling you about Steep Tea, then I'd be surprised. I feel like not too many people know about Steep Tea in the US. They're going to make it a brand name. And why that's great for us is because anyone who is a leader in Steep Tea, we get free, and it's not that hard to get to a leader. Anyone who gets to be a leader, you get free customers and free consultants. So every month you get lead calls, and they'll continue to do that. So anyone who's local to me buys tea from me, or I get invited to vendor events all the time, and I get free consultants to sign on my team because I'm a leader. And once it's a household name and people hear about it, it will be huge for that. It'll also be huge because when you're talking to people and you say Steed Tea, people know about it, like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to try that tea, whatever, do you have any of these samples? So I think it'll be huge when it becomes a household name. They're working on a lot of other things to make it explode in the US. And I think they're separating a lot of us with Canada just to make sure that we really explode together. And I think what they are planning to do is amazing. Everything I've heard. We were in Indianapolis with Melanie, Tanya, Adam, and the 8 other leaders in the US. I was lucky Lauren Giogata, my team, is with me too. She's as one of the 9 of us. And we just heard a lot of their plans. And I think everyone in the room felt very confident about what plans they had. I think we were excited about everything they said. We don't know when any of it's going to roll out. And they didn't really tell us too much, and a lot of it's confidential, but it is definitely what I heard Melanie talk about. She has one of the smartest minds I've ever seen in my life, and she's hiring the top people to make sure that her plan's implemented and that it really explodes. And I just think that it's the right place to be at the right time. So when you sign on, I'm sure your next question is what happens if you sign on. And so for those that don't know, the kit is $135. You get $320 worth of tea and teaware. You get our 10 most popular teas. You get a whole tin of matcha. You get my favorite, the Pop Top Pump Tumbler, and a bunch of other teaware and edibles. It's probably the best deal out there, but we're not really looking for kidnappers. We're looking for people who want to work the business. I'm so proud of my team. They're and I'm not saying we're super hard workers where we work 12 hours a day, because most of the people on my team have jobs and have kids or have one or the other. So none of us are working 4 or 5 hour days, but we do work hard I work hard for like an hour or 2 a day, each day, and I'm consistent. And I feel like most of my team is as well. And we're looking for that more than people who just want the deal on the kit, but it is a good deal. So if worst comes to worst and the tea business doesn't work out for you, you don't really lose anything. You spend $135 for $320 worth of stuff. It's not really the biggest deal. For 3 months, the website is free. And then after that, subsequent to that, it's $12.95 per month. You get, what happens is we throw your launch party for you. Whoever invites you to this call or if they don't want to, I'll do it. Someone will throw your launch party for you. If you are on Facebook, then great. We'll throw it for you on Facebook. You do nothing. We create the event for you. We run the slides for you. You just invite your friends, and that's it. If you're not on Facebook, I know a couple of people on here are not on Facebook, and that's totally fine. If you're local, we are more than happy to come to your house and throw the launch party with you. I've done that for a couple of people already. It's no problem. If you're not local, we could either teach you exactly what to do, or we'll try to find a consultant local to you to come help you if you want. Or we'll be on a Zoom call with you like this and telling you exactly what to do and telling your customers exactly what you're giving them. It's pretty easy now. They changed the catalog, so you can basically read the catalog and tell people what kind of teas they're trying and what's great about them, the difference between green tea and black tea, which was good for me because I feel like I kind of signed up and I didn't really know that much about tea. So the new catalog has helped a lot. So that's what we do. Right now, they're offering that if you sign up in October and you have 2 qualified parties, which one will be your launch, which we'll throw for you, and then if you could just get 1 friend or family member to throw any type of party for you, and both of those qualify, you'll get double commissions on both of those parties, or on any parties you have until November 15th. So that is huge because a lot of the people who signed up, whose launch parties I've recently done, and I know a few of them are on here, have had $1,000 party launches, $1,000 launch parties. So that means that they would make, instead of, you start with 25% commission, so instead of 25%, they'd make 50%, which is just nuts. And also right now they're offering double host credits. So when you throw your launch party, you not only get the commissions, you also get host credits for it. So you get tons of free tea. So if you have, say, a $500 launch party, you'll not only get commissions on it, but you'll also be able to get usually $100 of free tea and teaware, but now you get $200 worth of free tea and teaware. So it's an amazing time to sign up. How the commissions work after that is you make 25% no matter what you sell, it doesn't matter. And then you get, if you make $2,000 a month, if you sell $2,000 a month, you get a 5% bonus, which is what I try to do every month, and a bunch of people on my team try to do every month. And then as you move up on the ranks, obviously, you make a commission on your downline as well. So if you have 2 qualified people on your team, you'll make 3% on all of your personally sponsored people. And then if you have 5 people active in your downline, then you make 5% additional on your sales, which I learned was one of the only companies that does this. So you can make up to 35% on your sales, and you make 5% on every single person in your downline, and it just keeps going up from there. Currently, I make 37% on any TI sale, and between 7 and 5% on my downline, and I'm not even myself, higher to go. And so it is, now they're sponsoring bonuses as well. They give you free products when you start if you have a certain number of parties. They give you product collection if you have people who join you while you're in your first 90 days. It is just one of the most generous companies I've ever seen or heard of. And it has been crazy ride, but it's really been amazing. And I feel like it's definitely, I hope they stay as generous, and I hope they stay as, and I think they will. I think their plan is to stay as generous. If they're changing anything, they said that they will run numbers of the top people to see how they would be affected, to make sure that it's not being affected. Nobody's affected by any changes they make. And I feel as though, I hope you could hear now, because I see it. Okay. I just saw the chat that you can't hear, so I just wanted to make sure. So I just think they are generous, and that's basically what happens when you sign on. We run your launch party. We do a lot of trainings. CT is doing a lot of trainings now. They just hired someone, well, not that new anymore. I talk to her weekly from our team, weekly for our team, but she's the head of US corporate, and she is running for new members who signed up in less than 90 days. She's running trainings for them. She's also running trainings for people who want to become group leaders. She's running training for people above group leaders. So there's tons of training within CT. There's training in the back office. And in addition to that, my team does a lot of trainings as well. I do a lot of social media trainings. I do a lot of, tips and trainings. Now I'm starting to have other leaders come from and talk to our team about various things that could help them. Like, someone's really good at doing corporate gifts, so she's coming on my team. Someone's really good at fundraising, so she's going to teach us how to fundraise, sorry. And that's just what, it's just, we're in a good place. Melanie and Tanya are fighting so hard to make this huge in US, and they're involved in the top teams in the US. Fortunately, I came in at the right time, and our team is amazing. I couldn't be prouder of the people on my team, and we are one of the top teams, if not the top team in the US. And they work so hard with me to make sure that my team is happy. And, they take my advice. They ask me for my advice. I think I sometimes have to shut up a little about my advice, and I do try to. But they care so much about our team and us, and it's just amazing to be here, because I don't think in direct sales that happens too frequently. And especially because I just started 8 months ago. It's incredible. And it's just been, seriously, this has been one of the biggest blessings for my family, financially, emotionally, for me. I feel like it's been one of the most rewarding things I've done. Physically, the matcha is helping me lose weight. And I feel like it's just been so rewarding. And I hope all of you decide to give it a chance. And I'm going to open it up for questions now, because we have, I spoke exactly how I wanted to, 8:50. So if anyone has any questions, before I go though, if anyone decides to sign up tonight, then I am giving, within the next 24 hours, sorry, because I know nobody's gonna make a decision tonight. But if you sign up in the next 24 hours, I'm gonna put everyone's name in a hat, and one person will get a $50 shopping spree on their launch party from me. So if you are interested in the next 24 hours, then definitely feel free to sign up. And I'm doing it from not just my personally sponsored people, but from the whole team, whoever decides to sign up. Your name will go in a hat. We did have a few people sign up yesterday prior, because they knew about this call. So I'm going to include them too, just because I think that's only fair, because I think they're on this call as well. So any questions that anyone has, feel free to ask me any questions. I know I speak fast, and I apologize. So if you missed anything, please let me know. I'm going to unmute everyone. If you have like a crying person in the background, whether it's a kid or a husband, just maybe mute them. Does anyone have any questions? Come on, someone's got to have questions. Last time I did this, nobody had questions too, but I like questions.
There was something in the chat, Laura, about the commission plan.
Oh, I'll post the commission plan. Yeah, I know I went over it briefly, but I will. I'll post it in this event so you can see it and you can all look at it. There's a yeah, no problem. It's a PDF, so I'll look at it all. I'll post it all. Any other questions? Come on, guys.
Okay, so is there a minimum that you have to sell a month, or that you have to sell within a year?
So you have to. So the requirement to be active is 503 months. There's like an emergency that if you can't, then it's within 6 months. You just need to sell 100 or buy $100. Which I could do in about a week.
Okay, wait, say that one more time.
So to be active, which means you're an active consultant, then you have to sell 500 within 3 months. But they have like, there's also like an emergency fund where if something happens, or I mean, most people do that, but if something happens for some reason, the real minimum is 100 within 6 months.
Okay, so as long as you have 106 months,
Right.
you'll still be a consultant.
Right.
But what is it to get active every month? What's the minimum to get active every month?
It's like 167 because it's 500 over 3 months.
Okay.
Those signed up but are working on. Does that help? Is that good? Are you have any other questions?
No? Yeah.
Stacy, I saw your question. Those signed up but are working on group or other leadership, how will they be impacted with US launch and lead generation? So anyone who signed up, and as long as you're a leader, as soon as you become a leader, they will start giving you free leads and free consultants and free customers. So I feel like most people who've already signed up will be leaders by the time July hits. So I think anyone who signed up will be in a good position. We'll work on you to become a group leader and make sure that you're a leader by the time. I mean, hopefully you'll be a leader in a few months, but definitely by launch time.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Just since with my original 90-day goal, I crushed that in 20, so you kind of set the bar a little high, and I definitely want to hit that.
I know, I told you, you got to do it in 90 days. And you will, but if not, as long as you hit it by once you hit it, they'll start sending you leads and they'll start sending you consultants. So as long as you do it as long as you're a leader, by the time launches, you'll be in an position.
Awesome.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
There was something in the chat, Laura.
Okay. Oh, how can you become a leader? Oh, that's a good question. So in order to become a leader, you need 5 active consultants on your team, and 2 need to be your personally sponsored consultants. So you have 2 personally sponsored consultants that are active, and 3 others, they could be your consultants or not, and then you become a leader. And then you have to have, that has a minimum sales of $750 a month and $30,000 for your team. It seems like it's high, but it was, people could do it in, Lauren on my team did it in a couple of months. People do it in months. So it's a little high, but it's not too high. And I feel as though a bunch of people on this team who are on this call will be leaders within a couple of months. I have no doubts.
I didn't get to have Halloween as a kid.
And then from there, it keeps going up and up. So leader is kind of the first level of being, the whole goal is to make everyone who signs up now really be executive directors within, by the end of this, and we'll run this company, and I think we can all do it. And I'm excited. Will you be trading on trade shows, vendor events? Yes, I definitely can. Now, a lot of us, I just got asked to 4 within the next, today I got asked to 3 of them. So I'm definitely looking for someone who is vendor event expert. People on our team are actually very good at it, so we do kind of have that. I feel like we get a lot of times questions in our group about vendor fairs, and people are very good about helping with it. But I definitely want to get more just like exactly what you're supposed to bring, exactly what, how to do it. Someone just asked me a question. about, bringing a computer, everything like that. I want to make it exactly like hear from the complete expert, and I know who the complete expert is on it. So I could definitely get her on the calls with that. I do a lot of social media training, so a lot of the leaders are interested to have me talk to their team about social media. So I've been, I go on their teams and they'll come on my teams is what we started talking about. So I could definitely get anything that anyone's interested in, but that is definitely one that my team is definitely interested in is vendors knows, because a lot of us do a lot of them, especially at this time of year. People keep asking me left and right to do them. So that's a good question. Yes, any other questions? All right. Well, thank
Okay,
you.
so how does so like I started in July and I had one party in August and then I had one party in September, but it actually closed in October. So in October I have like almost 1,000, and so that is technically within just around the first 3 months. So how long is that number active before it starts over? How does that work?
So now if you have over 1,000 this month, so you'll have it. So the next 2 months you wouldn't have to sell $1. You'll still be an active consultant.
Okay.
But then 3 months, but you'll sell more than $1. I have no doubts in you. I know you had a couple of troubles with when you first got to a slow start with a couple of things, but I have no doubt you'll keep going with the $1,000 a month at least. You're doing great.
Yeah, I feel we're kind of out of the gate now, so that's good.
Exactly, you're out of the gate. I know it took a little while to get started, but you're doing awesome. So I have no doubts that you need to worry about being active consultant. You'll be fine. All right. Oh, is there a handout on the levels? Yep. Tamara, I'm gonna post in the event all the PDF of the whole entire compensation plan and what it includes. There's a few in between. Between group leader. First, when you start, then you go to senior consultant, then group leader. But I'm going to post it all so you can see it all. And if you have any questions on it, just let me know. And I'm happy to sit down and go over with anyone about the compensation plan. When we were in Indianapolis, we were supposed to be with the 8 other lead. It was me, Lauren, and 7 of the other leaders in the U.S. And I don't think any of us knew the compensation plans. So they brought it to us really hardcore. So I feel like now I know it by heart. So especially if you have a question tonight, I'm totally on it. If you ask me in a month, I might forget, but for now I know it all. So I will post it, and you guys could ask any questions you have about it. It's going to be a PDF. I'll do that. Does anyone else have any questions? All right. Well, I really can't thank you guys enough for your time. I so appreciate it. Even if you decide not to join, it's all about getting the Steep Team name out there. That's my biggest goal. I stand behind this company 100%, and I've really never felt luckier to be in a position, in my life. So I hope you give it a try. If not, no worries. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask whoever invited you, or feel free to message me, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.
Bye.
And
Thank you.